osCommerce manually. This tutorial will show you how to download and install osCommerce manually. The preferred method for installing osCommerce on a cPanel account is using Fantastico instead of using the method covered in this tutorial. First, let's download the software from the osCommerce website. Enter the address. Move the mouse over the Solutions menu. Click Downloads. Click the link. Click the Save button. Click the Save button. Click the Close button when the transfer has finished. Now, let's upload it to the server. For this demonstration, we will be using the File Manager in cPanel to upload and extract the contents of the compressed archive we downloaded that contains the software. The files can also be uncompressed locally and uploaded via FTP. In preparation for the installation covered in this video, we have created a subdomain on our domain, an empty database, and a new database user via cPanel. The directory we will be installing osCommerce was created by cPanel when we added the subdomain. You will need to create the database, database user, and the directory prior to attempting the installation. Click the Upload icon. Click the Browse button. Click the file. Click the Open button. Click the Back to link. Now let's find the file and extract its contents. Here it is. Click the icon to select it. Click the Extract icon. Enter the location where the files will be extracted. This does not have to be the directory where you will be installing osCommerce. We will be copying the files we need to the proper directory once they've been extracted. Click the Extract Files button. Click the Close button. Now let's find the extracted files. Click the Catalog directory. Click the Select All link. Click the Copy icon. Enter the path to the location where the files will be copied. For this demonstration, the subdomain we created is pointing at the osc subdirectory in our public_HTML directory. You will want to copy the contents of the catalog directory to the directory you want the installation in, and then reference the install directory in the URL accordingly. Click the Copy Files button. Next, let's run the installer. Enter the address to access the installer. This will be the same as the URL to access your store, with the directory install appended to the end of it. Click the Continue button. Enter localhost for the database server. Enter the database username. Enter the password. Enter the database name. Click the Continue button. Click the Continue button. Enter the store name. Enter the store owner name. Enter the store owner email sender address. This will be used for notifications, such as order confirmations sent automatically to your customers, and does not have to be an actual email address that is capable of receiving email. Enter the administrator username. Enter the administrator password. Click the Continue button. Now let's go to the store. Click the Catalog button. If the server your account is on is using php-su-exec, you may see the second warning on the page. This is because they are being run as the user that owns the file instead of the nobody or Apache user, as they would be in a traditional web server configuration. To fix these, we're going to need to delete the install directory and change the permissions on the configuration.php file in the File Manager in cPanel. First, let's find and delete the install directory. Click the folder icon next to the install directory. Click the delete icon. Click the Delete Files button. Next, let's deal with the configure.php file. Click the Includes directory. Click the icon next to the configure.php file. Before we address the permissions issue, let's take a look at the file. Click the Code Editor icon. Since our installation will be using SSL, we need to change a couple of values in this file. Secure Socket Layer, or SSL certificates, are used to facilitate encrypted connections between the client and the server. The certificate is used to authenticate a public key that is generated by the server. The key is used on both ends of the connection to encrypt and decrypt the packets before and after they're sent between the server and the client, thus providing a secure connection between the two. This is needed when the site will be requesting that your customers submit their credit card information to the server to process transactions. If you will be using a payment solution, such as Express Checkout that comes with PayPal's Web Payments standard merchant accounts, where the user is redirected to the merchant account provider's site to process the transaction and then directed back to your site once the transaction is completed, you will not need to use SSL. You will need your own certificate, however, if you are using a traditional payment gateway, such as Authorize.net. osCommerce can be easily configured to work with many of the most common merchant account solutions. However, the merchant account does not come with osCommerce and must be secured separately. Check with the merchant account provider and/or the osCommerce documentation for compatibility with a particular payment solution. There are generally two types of certificates: signed certificates, which are issued and independently verified by a third party that issues them, and self-signed certificates that are created by the server using it. You will need a signed certificate to use SSL with osCommerce. Specifications for SSL certificates require that only one certificate can be installed per IP address. So if the account is on a shared IP, you will need to have your account moved to a dedicated IP to use SSL for your osCommerce installation. However, the installation of the SSL certificate can be handled after the osCommerce installation is completed. Enter the new URL for the HTTPS_server value. SSL certificates are generated for specific fully qualified domain names. The host name in the URL will need to match the host name that you will use for the SSL certificate when it is generated. Change the enable_SSL value to true. Click the Save Changes button. Click the Go Back to the File Manager link. Now let's fix the permissions. Click the Change Permissions icon. Uncheck the right checkbox for the user. Click the Change Permissions button. Now let's go back to the store. click the Refresh button. For demonstration purposes, osCommerce will have sample data for categories, products, etc. that will be stored in the database and displayed when you first install it. This simple data can easily be removed or modified to suit your needs. Now let's go back to our installation window and log into the Administration tool. Click the Administration tool button. The URL to access the Administration tool is the same as the store, with the path admin / appended to the end of it. Enter the username. Enter the password. Click the Login button. Congratulations! You now know how to download and install osCommerce manually.